Hey, what's up folks? How's it going? This is Waj. Hope you guys are all doing well. So I've had the new iPhone 7 Plus for a couple of days now. I've been testing it pretty much non-stop. And one of the biggest things I want to learn about this phone is how it compares against the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 when it comes to battery life. A word of warning, we have the pre-recalled version of the Note 7. Unfortunately, we don't have the current batch of new Note 7s that Samsung is replacing because of all the battery explosion issues. Now, luckily, I've actually had this phone for a couple of weeks now. Haven't had any problems, fingers crossed thus far. But since we have this phone and we don't have the newer version of the Note 7, might as well compare it against the 7 Plus since we have it currently. And the battery specification and performance will probably not fluctuate too much on the post-recall version of the Note 7. Now, the first thing that we're going to get into is the overall battery specifications. So the 7 Plus actually has 2900 milliamp hours non-removable. And of course, it only has one port for charging and data connectivity, which is the reversible lightning connection. And the charge time using the standard one-arm charger that comes with it is going to take about 170 minutes from 0 to 100% charge, versus if you use the iPad 2-amp charger, it'll take you about 135 minutes. Now, the Note 7 has, again, a non-user replaceable battery. It has a capacity of 3500 milliamp hours, and it's using, for the first time ever, a USB Type 3.0C connection. So you're looking at a reversible USB connection that has fast data transferring speeds as well as fast charging capabilities. It comes with a Quick Charge 2.0 adaptive fast charger, which is a 9-volt charger rated at 1.67 amps. And basically using this charger, you can get from 0 to 100% charge in under 90 minutes. Furthermore, just like many other Samsung devices, you have full wireless charging capabilities for both Qi and PMA chargers. Now, since battery life is very vulnerable to different variables that you're going to do on your day-to-day kind of tasks and activities, I want to keep our tests as basic as possible. So that's why I like to do a simple video playback test using the VLC app on both Android and iOS platforms. I basically loop the same video with the screen brightness at 100% and Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, everything turned off. So we just know what the video playback performance is going to be like. So here are the results over here on the 7 Plus. We get about 14.7 hours, and on the Note 7 we get a continuous playback rating of about 15.6 hours, so just almost 1 hour more than the 7 Plus, which is definitely nice to see that you have that extra capacity and that extra potential for a little bit more battery life. Now, that being said, the 7 Plus is definitely an improvement from the 6S Plus, which ran just under 13 hours on the same exact scenario. So good improvement on the iPhone side, but it's still not as good as the Note 7 at this point. Now, another thing that we're going to do is test out the overall performance of the battery as well as the long-term CPU and GPU performance when running any kind of high-intensity application for a long period of time. And a great tool is the GFX benchmarking, and this has a specific battery testing tool that will basically run what they call the T-Rex gaming testing run for 30 consecutive times. It'll give you two numbers. One will be an estimate of how long your device will play back this GPU benchmark before it runs out of juice, and the other one is going to be a long-term performance throttling test. So basically, if the CPU and GPU get hotter after many consecutive tests later on, will the CPU basically lower down the performance, throttle down the CPU and GPU to increase the efficiency because temperatures are running too hot. And if any of you guys play any kind of movie or video games on your phone for maybe a couple of hours, you'll notice that the device will definitely get hot as you kind of tax the whole system. So this benchmark will give us an idea of how both these two devices will do when doing any kind of high intensity based application for a long period of time. So basically, here are the results over here. Starting with the iPhone 7 Plus, we have an estimated battery life of about 184 minutes. So this is how long the video would run for from 100 to 0% charge. And our slowest run, we ran rendered about 3,222 frames. Comparing that to the Note 7, we got a slightly longer battery life, about 218 minutes. Now, at its weakest run, the Note 7 rendered about 1,505 frames compared to the over 3,000 frames that the iPhone 7 Plus ran. But keep in mind that we're also rendering at a much higher resolution, 2560 by 1440, compared to the 1080p on the iPhone. So that's why you do have that performance difference. But there is a little bit more of a performance deviation and throttling going on as we continue forward on the Samsung versus the temperature and the overall hardware efficiency is a little bit more consistent on the iPhone based on the performance measurements. Really, I'm that, guys. That's really it. Now, in terms of real-world battery performance, obviously, I don't have that much time at this point to kind of test out both devices on a day-to-day basis. I'm going to need probably another month or two before I can determine what the actual battery life will be on the 7 Plus versus the Note 7. But at this point of the game, I can definitely confirm that both devices will last you throughout the day, no problem, and maybe a little bit the next day. Generally speaking, the Note 7 is slightly better in terms of battery performance, and it has more features, as we mentioned before, in terms of fast charging capabilities and wireless charging, but both are going to be fairly satisfying for most people out there that are heavy-duty smartphone users. But really, on that, guys, thanks again for watching. Check out the description down below where you'll find our speed test comparison between these two devices, as well as the 4K camera comparison. Thanks again for your support. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.